I saved for 6 years to buy my dream home and invited my family for a housewarming. They never came. The September sunlight streams through my windows, creating golden patterns across the dining table I spent 4 hours arranging. 22 place settings with grandmother's china I'd carefully stored through 3 apartment moves. 22 crystal glasses catching the afternoon light. 22 empty chairs. My phone chimes again. The sound cuts through the silence like a blade. I've been avoiding it for the past hour, but the notifications won't stop. With shaking hands, I pick it up, the weight suddenly overwhelming. The screen lights up with social media alerts. And there they are. All of them. Mom and Dad grinning beside my younger brother Jake, standing in what looks like his new downtown loft. Aunt Patricia raising a champagne flute. Uncle William with his arm around my cousin Ashley. Grandma Nancy looking fragile but happy in the corner of the frame. Mom's caption reads, "So proud of our boy's first apartment." The Johnson family celebrates Jake's independence milestone. #ProudMom #first place. I swipe to the next photo. More family. More smiles. More celebration. Then a video starts playing. Jake, his perfectly straight teeth gleaming as he laughs with our cousins. Emily's always showing off with her house posts. "Today's my day." The phone slips from my hands, clattering onto the mahogany table. I press my palm against my mouth, but it doesn't stop the sob that escapes. Tears blur my vision as I stare at the untouched appetizers. The expensive wine I bought because Dad loves a good Merlot. The homemade dinner rolls cooling in their wicker basket. Just hours ago, I was humming as I moved around this kitchen. I'd woken before sunrise, too excited to sleep. The morning light had barely touched the hardwood floors as I reviewed my handwritten checklist. The invitation sent 6 weeks ago promised a 2 p.m. celebration of my first home purchase. This 1,200 square foot Victorian cottage I'd poured my life savings and 8 months of renovation work into restoring. "You're going overboard again, Emily," my best friend Callie had said, watching me arrange sunflowers in the vintage mason jars I'd collected specifically for this day. But her smile was warm as she helped me polish the silverware that once belonged to my great-grandmother. "I want everything perfect," I'd explained, adjusting a napkin for the 5th time. "Mom said the house was too small when I bought it. Dad thought the neighborhood was sketchy. I need them to see what I've created here." Callie had squeezed my shoulder. "They should be proud of you regardless." The first sign of trouble came at 1:45 p.m. A text from Mom, "Running late, sweetie. Start without us." By 3:30, my co-workers Lisa and Kevin had arrived. My elderly neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, brought homemade apple pie. 4 friends from college showed up with wine and genuine enthusiasm. But no family. By 4:15, I'd called my parents 8 times. Straight to voicemail. Jake wasn't answering either. My texts to aunts and uncles went unread. At 5:20, Aunt Patricia finally picked up. "Honey, aren't you at Jake's housewarming?" she asked, the background noise nearly drowning her voice. "He got that beautiful loft downtown. Everyone's here celebrating. Your parents said you knew about it." My throat tightened. "Jake rents that place. He didn't buy anything." A pause. "Well, that's not what he told everyone. Anyway, he scheduled this last week. Said it was really important." "I sent invitations to my housewarming 6 weeks ago," I whispered. "Today. At 2 o'clock. Another pause. Longer this time. "Oh my. Well, we're all here now. Maybe you could stop by later? After your little party." I hung up. Now I sit surrounded by empty chairs meant for people who chose not to come. The faithful 8 who did show up exchange worried glances across the table laden with cooling food. Mrs. Thompson, 78 and sharper than most people half her age, rises from her chair. She lifts her glass, her gaze steady and fierce. "Don't let empty chairs steal your joy, dear. Today is Emily's day." The others raise their glasses. Callie leans close, her voice soft against my ear. "This is your real family, Em. The ones who choose to be here." My phone lights up again. Mom calling. 8 pairs of eyes watch me, concern written across their faces. I silence the ringer with one decisive motion and raise my glass to Mrs. Thompson's toast. "Not today," I say, my voice steadier than expected. Today is about the people who showed up. 3 hours later, the last guest waves goodbye, disappearing into the evening beyond my front porch light. Only Callie remains, helping me wrap leftovers that will feed me for weeks, a bitter reminder of the empty chairs. You should stay at my place tonight, Callie says, sealing another container. We'll drink wine and watch terrible rom-coms until we pass out. I shake my head. I need to be here. This is my home. The word catches in my throat. Home. The concept feels both powerful and fragile after today. The doorbell rings, its chimes cutting through the quiet house. Callie and I exchange glances. I'll get it, I say, drying my hands on a dish towel. I open the door to find my mother, Linda Johnson, standing on my porch. Her pearl necklace catches the porch light as she looks past me into the house, scanning what she can see of my living room. May I come in? She asks, not waiting for an answer as she steps forward. I step aside, my stomach knotting. She walks through my entryway, her eyes traveling over the restored hardwood floors, the original crown molding I spent weekends refinishing, the vintage chandelier I found at an estate sale in Connecticut. It's nice, she says with a slight purse of her lips, smaller than it looked in photos. The familiar sting of her dismissal burns through my chest. Callie appears in the doorway between the kitchen and living room, her presence a silent anchor. Mom, why are you here? I ask. Linda sets her purse on my couch and turns to face me. Honestly, Emily, I don't understand why you're making such a big deal about today. You're always competing with Jake, making him feel inadequate. He's finally doing something positive with his life, and you couldn't even show up to support him. The audacity of her statement leaves me speechless. Callie's sharp intake of breath is the only sound in the room. I couldn't show up, I finally manage, because I was here, hosting my own housewarming that I invited all of you to 6 weeks ago. Well, these things happen, she says with a dismissive wave. You know how busy we all are. Jake only decided on his party last week. He was so excited about it. I feel something shift inside me. Last week? But my invitations went out 6 weeks ago. Linda busies herself straightening a throw pillow on my sofa. Jake's been going through a rough patch. When he told us he was hosting a celebration, we thought it would boost his confidence. He told you it was a rental, not a purchase, right? I ask, my voice steadier than I feel. Linda's fingers freeze on the pillow. Well, you know how Jake is with details. What matters is that he's finally taking initiative. Mom, I say slowly, realization dawning. Did you know Jake scheduled his party on the same day as mine? Her silence answers my question more clearly than words could. You knew, I whisper. You all knew. And you helped him pretend he bought a place when he's just renting. The betrayal cuts deeper than I thought possible. You staged a fake celebration to deliberately overshadow mine. Now you're being dramatic, Linda straightens, her defense mechanism kicking in. Not everything is about you, Emily. Jake needs our support more than you do. You've always been the independent one. Independent. The word ignites in my throat. I've been independent because I had to be. My voice grows stronger with each word. My entire life, you've ignored my achievements while celebrating Jake's mediocrity. When I made honor roll, you were too busy at Jake's mediocre basketball games to attend the ceremony. When I got my scholarship to NYU, you spent the night consoling Jake because he didn't get into community college on his first try. Linda's eyes widen. I've never spoken to her this way before. I worked 2 jobs to put myself through graduate school while you paid Jake's rent after he dropped out. I saved for 6 years to buy this house while you funded one failed startup after another for him. We've always supported both of you equally, Linda protests, but the lie hangs hollow in the air between us. I spent $89,000 and 8 months renovating this house myself, I continue, trembling now. Every weekend, every vacation day, every spare hour after work. Meanwhile, you criticized my impractical purchase in a questionable neighborhood without ever bothering to visit. Linda's face hardens. After all we've done for you. What exactly have you done for me? The question erupts from somewhere deep and wounded. Name one thing you've done to support my dreams the way you support Jake's. Her silence stretches between us. Callie stands witness to a confrontation decades in the making. This house is mine, I say, walking to the front door and pulling it open wide, earned by me. Get out. Linda's mouth falls open in shock. This isn't how our conversations end. Usually, I apologize for upsetting her, for being difficult, for existing in a way that requires more than she's willing to give. Emily Catherine Johnson, you do not speak to your mother that way. I just did, I reply, my voice calm despite the storm inside me. Please leave. She gathers her purse, shoulders stiff with indignation. Your father will hear about this. I'm sure he will. As the door closes behind her, I lean against it, feeling both hollow and somehow fuller than before. Callie approaches quietly, wrapping her arms around me. I'm proud of you, she whispers. Morning sunlight streams through my kitchen windows when the doorbell rings again. I've barely slept, replaying last night's confrontation in endless loops. When I open the door, my father, Charles Johnson, stands on the porch alone, his tall frame slightly stooped, his expression uncharacteristically uncertain. May I come in? He asks softly. I step aside wordlessly. Unlike my mother, he pauses in the entryway, taking in the details of my home with genuine attention. Could I see it? He asks. The whole house, I mean. I lead him through each room. The kitchen with its restored 1940s cabinets. The living room with built-in bookshelves I refinished myself. The office where I work remotely 3 days a week. The guest bedroom that Callie helped me paint a warm sage green. In my backyard, he stops by the vegetable garden I planted last spring. You did all this yourself? He asks. Most of it, I answer. Friends helped with the bigger projects. He nods slowly. It's beautiful, Emily. You've created something special here. The compliment, the first genuine one I can remember from him, lands awkwardly between us. Jake told everyone he bought the place, he says suddenly. We knew it wasn't true. The confirmation of their deliberate deception still stings, even though I already knew. Your mother is very upset, he continues. I recognize the familiar pattern, the attempt to re-establish control through guilt. Perhaps if you apologized, we could put this behind us. I won't apologize for telling the truth, I reply, or for expecting basic respect. His expression hardens slightly. You know, Emily, we're not getting any younger, and our will. I don't need your money, I interrupt. I never did. Something shifts in his face, anger perhaps, at losing the leverage he thought he had. But in that flash of emotion, I see something else. The pattern that has defined my entire life. You gave Jake 3 business loans, I say quietly. The food truck that lasted 2 months. The online store that never launched. The cryptocurrency investment that was actually a scam. He has potential, my father replies automatically. He just needs support to find his way. And what about me? Did I ever have potential worth supporting? His silence speaks volumes. A car pulls into my driveway. Callie emerges with an older woman I recognize as her mentor, Dr. Angela Foster. Behind them, Mrs. Thompson parks her ancient Honda, stepping out with a covered dish. My phone chimes with messages from co-workers who attended yesterday, sending photos and supportive texts. I should go, my father says, watching the arrivals with a frown. Your mother expects you to call and apologize. The family has been through enough drama. You can't threaten me with family estrangement when that's already my reality, I reply, walking him to the door. He pauses on the threshold. This isn't how family treats each other, Emily. I know, I say quietly. That's the problem. As the door closes behind him, I lean against it, exhaling slowly. Dr. Foster approaches, her kind eyes assessing me with professional interest. That's the first step, she says gently, recognizing the pattern. The little red notification on my Instagram app has been haunting me for 10 days. Every time I unlock my phone, it stares back, daring me to peek at the damage my family continues to inflict. I'm sitting in my home office, surrounded by the sage green walls I painted myself, when my phone buzzes with another text. Aunt Patricia again, your mother is devastated. When are you going to apologize? I set the phone down on my desk without responding. The wooden surface still smells faintly of lemon oil from yesterday's cleaning. Through the window, I can see the maple tree in my backyard, its leaves turning brilliant orange in the October sunlight. Jake's Instagram remains unchanged since the day of my housewarming. His profile still prominently features the apartment celebration, complete with champagne toasts and congratulatory comments from relatives who never bothered to verify a word of it. Enough, I whisper to the empty room. I pick up my phone and open my camera roll. There waiting is the photo Callie took 4 months ago, me standing on the porch of my Victorian cottage, holding the keys, face flushed with pride and exhaustion. The caption forms in my mind with perfect clarity as I type, "Renovation completed on my first home purchase." From rewiring to refinishing these 120-year-old floors myself. Thanks to everyone who supported this journey. #first-time homeowner, #renovation, #Victorian cottage. I hit post without mentioning the betrayal, without tagging a single family member. The memory of buying this house washes over me. Working 65-hour weeks between my software engineering job and weekend freelance projects. Living in a studio apartment with second-hand furniture to save every possible dollar. Losing 4 homes in bidding wars before finally getting the call about this cottage that needed too much work for most buyers. That moment, standing alone in the empty living room after signing the papers, pressing my palm against the original wood trim. No parents to celebrate with, no brother to help move furniture. Just me, a set of keys, and a house that needed as much care as I did. How different from Jake's situation, the downtown loft our parents helped secure with first and last month's rent. The furniture they purchased, the moving service they paid for. My phone pings with a message from Zoe, my cousin from Dad's side and the only relative who seems to see the situation clearly. "Thought you should see this," her text reads, followed by screenshots of the extended family group chat. My stomach tightens as I scroll through the messages. "Aunt Patricia, the situation with Emily is getting out of hand. Linda is beside herself. Uncle William, Jake says she's just jealous of his success. Always has been. Cousin Troy, we all know Emily's always been difficult. Remember the scene she made at Christmas when she was 19? The scene they're referring to was my reaction when everyone forgot I'd been accepted to graduate school with a full fellowship. They'd spent the entire dinner discussing Jake's part-time job at Best Buy. More screenshots follow, revealing the family mythology I've been battling my entire life. Emily the troublemaker. Emily the overly sensitive. Emily who needs to try harder to get along. The weight of their collective dismissal feels like concrete hardening around my chest. Later that day, Dr. Foster's office smells like lavender and old books. The leather chair creaks slightly as I shift my weight, recounting the family chat messages. The golden child versus scapegoat dynamic is textbook in your family structure, she says, her voice gentle but matter of fact. Jake has been positioned as the one who can do no wrong, while you're assigned the role of the one who can never do enough. I've suspected this for years, I admit, but seeing it spelled out in that group chat, it's like they're living in an alternate reality. Dr. Foster leans forward slightly. What would your life look like if you stopped seeking their approval? The question hangs in the air between us. For a moment, I can't breathe. I'd be alone, I whisper finally. Cut off completely. Are you sure? She gestures toward the window. From what you've told me, you have Callie, your colleagues, your neighbor Mrs. Thompson, people who choose to see you clearly. I consider this. But they're not family. Aren't they? Dr. Foster asks, her eyes kind. What makes someone family, Emily? The question follows me home, echoing as I pull into my driveway. Callie's car is already parked out front, along with 3 others I recognize. Co-workers from the office, paint cans and gardening tools visible through their car windows. Surprise. Callie calls from the porch, gesturing to the group behind her. Fall cleanup party for the yard. We brought pizza and cider too. Inside, Mrs. Thompson is already there, arranging chrysanthemums in a vase on my dining table. I brought cuttings from my garden, she explains, and I want to show you how to winterize those rose bushes before the frost. Over the next weekend, the house fills with more than just autumn decorations. Laughter echoes through rooms that once felt hollow with expectation. My co-workers, Lisa and Kevin, become regular Sunday dinner guests. Mrs. Thompson teaches me her mother's recipe for butternut squash soup. The doorbell rings on a Wednesday evening as I'm cooking dinner. Through the frosted glass, I recognize Jake's silhouette, the confident stance, one hand casually in his pocket. When I open the door, his smile is as practiced as ever. Hey sis, he says, leaning against the doorframe like we're in a sitcom. Place looks good. I don't invite him in immediately. What brings you here, Jake? He has the decency to look slightly uncomfortable. Things got a bit out of hand with the apartment situation. Mom and Dad might have overreacted. It's not an apology, not really. I step aside and let him enter, watching as he assesses the house with new eyes. Listen, he says, circling back to his actual purpose within minutes. I've got this investment opportunity, real estate development in Brooklyn. Small buy-in, huge potential. I thought of you since you're into property now. The familiar pattern unfolds like a worn roadmap. Jake needs money. Jake comes to Emily. Jake expects Emily to provide. How much? I ask, more curious than anything. Just $18,000 to start. I'd pay you back once it takes off. Like the business loans from our parents that were never repaid. Like the temporary stay in his first apartment that they ended up financing for 3 years. I look at my brother, really look at him, perhaps for the first time. The charming smile that doesn't reach his eyes. The expectation of compliance so deeply ingrained he doesn't even consider I might refuse. You've never seen me clearly, I say quietly, and I finally see you. His face hardens slightly. What's that supposed to mean? It means no, Jake. I won't be investing in your project. After he leaves, I make a decision that surprises even me. I call my mother and agree to Sunday dinner at their house. But first, I meet with Dr. Foster to prepare. Remember, she says during our session, they'll try to pull you back into old patterns. You don't have to respond the way you always have. Callie will be waiting nearby, I tell her, just in case. Good. What boundaries are you establishing before you go? I count them off on my fingers. I'll leave if they belittle my house or my choices. I won't discuss lending money to Jake. I won't stay longer than 2 hours. Dr. Foster nods. And what's your purpose in going? To see if honesty is possible, I reply. To see if there's anything worth salvaging. Sunday arrives cold and clear. I park in front of my parents' suburban home, its perfect lawn and matching planters a stark contrast to my eclectic cottage garden. Taking a deep breath, I walk to the door. The silence when I enter the dining room is deafening. Jake attempts a joke that falls flat. My father clears his throat repeatedly. My mother busies herself with serving dishes, avoiding eye contact. Thank you for coming, Emily, my father finally says. I take my seat at the table. I'm here to see if honesty is possible. The words land like stones in still water. No one seems to know how to respond to direct communication. We make it through most of dinner with strained small talk about weather and neighbors. My mother asks about my job but interrupts before I can fully answer. My father inquires about the house but winces when I mention the new furnace I had installed. The tension breaks when my mother sets down her fork with a sharp click against fine china. I don't understand why you had to buy such an expensive house, she says. All that money when you could have had something more reasonable, like Jake did. The lie hangs in the air between us. I stand up slowly, napkin placed carefully beside my half-eaten meal. I didn't come for more lies, I say, my voice steadier than expected. Emily, please, my father pleads, also rising. Family should forgive each other. I look at him directly, then at my mother, then at Jake. Who won't meet my eyes. Family should be worth forgiving first. The door closes behind me with quiet finality as I step into the cool evening air, breathing deeply for what feels like the first time in years. The morning sunshine spills across my kitchen counter as I arrange fresh-cut dahlias in the blue ceramic vase Mrs. Thompson gifted me. Through the window, I can see my garden coming alive, for months of determined work transforming what was once barren dirt into something beautiful. The roses climb their trellis with quiet determination, mirroring my own journey. These Sunday dinners are becoming quite the tradition, Mrs. Thompson calls from my porch, where she's setting out her famous peach cobbler. At 78, she moves with surprising energy, refusing any help. Best day of my week, I answer, meaning it. The house feels different now, fully mine in a way it wasn't before. The dining room table that once displayed my family's absence now regularly hosts laughter. Callie brings board games. Kevin from work brings his guitar. My colleague Nina brings her twin daughters who chase fireflies in the garden at dusk. I've grown comfortable with the rhythm of limited family contact. Dad calls occasionally, awkward but trying. Mom sends formal texts about neighborhood events I never attend. Jake sends nothing, which is its own kind of peace. Until today. My phone vibrates against the countertop. Callie glances over from where she's chopping vegetables for the salad. Your face just did that thing, she says. I turn my phone toward her. On the screen, Jake's social media announcement glows. She said yes. Brittany made me the happiest man alive. #engaged #finding the perfect one. The photograph shows him beaming beside a pretty brunette woman, her left hand prominently displayed with what appears to be a diamond large enough to require its own insurance policy. Wow, Callie says. Didn't they just start dating last month? 6 weeks, I confirm, scrolling to read the comments. Relatives I haven't heard from in months have already liked and commented, my parents leading the congratulatory parade. My phone rings. Mom's name flashes on the screen. Emily. Her voice is unnaturally bright when I answer. Have you seen Jake's wonderful news? We're just thrilled. Brittany is absolutely perfect for him. I press my fingertips against my temple. Congratulations. We're planning an engagement party in 3 weeks. The whole family will be there. She pauses meaningfully. This is important, Emily. Family obligations come first, especially for something this significant. The familiar pressure builds in my chest, the weight of expectations wrapped in guilt. I'll think about it, I say, instead of my usual automatic agreement. Think about it? Her voice rises. This is your brother's engagement. After everything we've done for you. I need to go, Mom. Sunday dinner guests are arriving. I end the call before she can respond, my hands surprisingly steady. Within the hour, my phone fills with messages from aunts, uncles, and cousins, all variations on the same theme. Family comes together for important moments. Your brother would be there for you. Time to put differences aside. The most telling comes from Aunt Patricia. Your mother mentioned you might help with wedding expenses since Jake is between opportunities again. Callie reads over my shoulder and makes a sound between a laugh and a snort. Of course the golden child needs another bailout. Dr. Foster's guidance from our last session echoes in my mind. You don't need to respond to every crisis. Selective engagement protects your peace. I craft one careful message and send it to Jake. Congratulations on your engagement. I wish you both happiness. Nothing more, nothing less. The others receive variations of, thank you for letting me know. I'll consider my schedule when the invitation arrives. Look at you, setting boundaries like a champion, Callie says, squeezing my shoulder. Dr. Foster would be proud. I nod, surprised by the lightness in my chest where dread usually lives. Sunday dinner unfolds with the comfortable familiarity of chosen family. Mrs. Thompson tells stories about her late husband's gardening disasters. Kevin plays a new song he's working on. Callie teases Nina about her crush on the new department head. No one mentions weddings or family obligations or my duty to show up and pretend. No one suggests I should help pay for someone else's celebration. No one questions my worth. 2 days later, an unfamiliar number appears on my phone. Is this Emily? It's Brittany, Jake's fiancée. My grip tightens on the phone. Yes. I hope this isn't inappropriate, but I'd like to meet you. Just us. Her voice lacks the polished charm Jake typically seeks in women. There's something refreshingly direct about her. May I ask why? A pause. I saw what happened at your housewarming through old photos and comments online. I've noticed how your family talks about you when you're not there. Another pause. I need to understand what I'm marrying into. The unexpectedness of her honesty catches me off guard. Coffee at Riverside Cafe, tomorrow at 2? I suggest. I'll be there, she says, relief evident in her voice. That evening, Dad appears on my doorstep, a cardboard box tucked under his arm. May I come in? I step aside, noting his careful respect for my threshold, a small but significant change from his previous entitled entries. He places the box on my coffee table. Found these in the attic. Thought you might want them. Inside are family photographs I've never seen. Me at 6, proudly holding a science fair trophy, me at 13, sitting in Grandpa's workshop learning to use power tools, me at 17, beaming beside the used car I bought with my own savings. I took these, Dad says quietly. Your mother thought it was wasteful to print so many pictures of everyday moments. My throat tightens as I lift a photo of myself in cap and gown, face bright with achievement. Dad stands beside me, a rare smile on his face. We failed you, he says simply. I failed you. The words I've waited decades to hear land with surprising weight, not satisfaction, not triumph, just a complicated ache. Jake told everyone the engagement ring is paid for, he continues, staring at his hands. It's not. He used Brittany's credit card with promises to pay her back. I wait, letting him sit with his complicity. Your mother wants me to convince you to attend the engagement party, to bring a generous gift. He meets my eyes directly. She doesn't understand that things have changed. Outside in my garden, Mrs. Thompson's wind chimes signal a shifting breeze. Some things have changed, I agree. Some haven't. Dad nods, understanding the boundary. He stands to leave, pausing at the door. The house looks beautiful, Emily. You've built something real here. 2 hours later, Mom arrives unannounced, barging in with familiar entitlement. This ridiculous distance has gone on long enough, she announces. You will attend Jake's engagement party and behave like family, or you won't be family. It's that simple. The threat that once would have devastated me now feels strangely powerless. That's not a choice you get to make anymore, I tell her, my voice calm. Her face reddens. After everything. I'll decide about the party on my own terms. You can show yourself out. The following afternoon, Brittany and I sit in the corner of Riverside Cafe. She's nothing like Jake's usual girlfriends, no artificial polish, no calculated charm. My parents divorced when I was 14, she explains, stirring her latte. My father was like Jake in many ways, charming, always the victim, never responsible. My mother enabled him until she couldn't anymore. Understanding passes between us. Are you sure about marrying him? I ask. Her smile is sad. No, but I need to see this clearly before I decide. I consider my response carefully. I'll come to the engagement party, I tell her. Not for them. For me and for you. Later in my garden, Mrs. Thompson helps me deadhead roses as the setting sun casts long shadows. Will going back into that environment hurt you? She asks, her weathered hands gentle with the blooms. I consider the question. Perhaps, but I'm not the same person they think I am. Mrs. Thompson nods, wisdom in her eyes. Family isn't who you're born to. It's who sees you truly. I look at my house, windows glowing with warm light, garden taking root, strength visible in every repair and renovation I've completed with my own hands. This house taught me what family should be, I say, realizing the truth of it as the words leave my lips. People who show up, people who stay, people who see you even when it's not convenient or comfortable. The evening breeze carries the scent of roses and freshly turned soil, growth and boundaries intertwined. On the engagement party day, the cream-colored walls of the Westchester Country Club blur past as Callie and I walk through the entrance. The weight of my decision to attend sits on my shoulders, but my spine remains straight, my chin lifted. You look stunning, Callie whispers, squeezing my hand. Simple elegance beats showing off any day. I chose a navy blue dress that schemes my figure without drawing attention. No statement jewelry, no elaborate hairstyle. Just me, unadorned and unapologetic. The murmuring stops as we enter the main reception area. Relatives freeze mid-conversation, drinks hovering near lips. Some nod awkwardly, others look away. Jake stands near the gift table, his smile faltering as he notices me. He clearly expected an empty chair with my name on it, another opportunity to paint me as the difficult one. Brittany waves from across the room, relief washing over her face. My parents approach with practiced smiles that don't reach their eyes. Mom's relief quickly morphs into something sharper, more calculating. You came, Mom says, her voice pitched for the benefit of nearby relatives. How thoughtful. Wouldn't miss it, I reply, keeping my voice light. 20 minutes pass in small talk with distant relatives who suddenly find the weather fascinating. I stand at the refreshment table, sipping sparkling water, when Mom materializes beside me. Listen carefully, she hisses, face arranged in a pleasant smile for onlookers. Don't mention your house tonight. This is Jake's moment. The old pattern tries to reassert itself. Linda dictates. Emily complies. Mom, Not everything has to be about you, she continues, rearranging shrimp on her plate. Just once, can you let your brother have his moment without competition? Before I can respond, Brittany approaches, her cream cocktail dress catching the light. Her eyes dart between Mom and me, reading the tension.